What are you working on now?
I'm working on a third in the Alice Storr so-called series. It's just a novel. And when that's done, I'm not quite sure what. I had something else in mind, but but Sherry has talked me out of it. She's making a terrible mistake.
I didn't talk you out of writing anything.
Speaking of talking people out of things, this is KPFK in Los Angeles, listener-sponsored non-commercial Pacifica Radio. This is Hour 25. Our guest is Jack Vance. And Jack will be at Change of Hobbit tomorrow afternoon, that is to say Saturday, November
13th.
Thank you, 13th, from 2 to 5 p.m.
Which, in case you never heard of it, is a science fiction and fantasy-oriented bookstore in Westwood.
Yes, right next to a very good place to buy glasses. Anyway, you don't read science fiction. You prefer history, and etc. What about the way you work? Do you sit down and just write for X hours, or do you write until you produce X pages?
I wish I had some discipline along these lines. Actually, I start in very dutifully in the morning and hope to turn out a certain amount of work every day. And I'll work, and then something will distract me, and so I find myself doing something else, and then I go back to work, something else distracts me, and then I get angry at myself, and I absolutely swear that I'm not going to do this again. I'm going to turn out all these words per day, and of course the next day is just like the one before.
Do you do much revision, or is it pretty much?
Yeah, quite a bit.
You do?
I do my first draft in longhand, which my wife types for me. In other words, she has this telepathic connection or something like that, which she can decipher my horrible handwriting and makes a legible draft for me. And then I go over this typewritten draft, make a second draft on that, and then she retypes that. And that generally is the final draft with some small revisions. But the work is done in the first two drafts, but the tremendous revision is done in the second draft.
Do you plot the thing fully before you begin?
Well, I like to think that I do, but not always. Sometimes things get a little out of hand, or you get some idea when you're writing a thing that seems so much more interesting than what you already plotted. So you say, well, I'll go along this sideline, and then, of course, this leads you into terrible difficulties when you want to turn the thing off. You find yourself you're up a tree someplace, so the best way to do is just stop the story. Say, well, this is close enough to the end. Let's stop about here.
Back in the late 50s, early 60s, I'm not sure where, you did 3 stories that I've read about Magnus Ridolf. And I love that character. He is really nice. And I'd like to see more of him. Is there any chance that he will ever come back?
I doubt it very much, mainly because I'm fond of old Magnus myself, but it's just a question of time, really. I've got some other projects which I am really anxious to fulfill, so to speak. I fear that particular set of stories is going its course.
One of the things you do best is create aliens. You have some beautiful aliens. Do they come from any place except... Do they have an origin, or are they just suddenly there? I know it's an ill-formed question, but
well,
with it.